Hello again, everyone. The Snowman here, and one of my favorite weekends of the tennis calendar nearly upon us. It's the Laver Cup. If you don't know what that is, please check out my Laver Cup Explained video. But excited to break down the 2022 event. It's Team World versus Team Europe, one of the few team events in tennis, and we're gonna have a surplus of living legends on display in London this week. Gonna be a lot of fun. So let's go through, preview the teams, preview the matchups, and jump in. And before we look at the teams and talk about this weekend's matchups, we have to mention the big headline of last week, the legend Roger Federer announcing that this tournament will be his final event as a professional on the ATP Tour. The 41-year-old opting to put an exclamation point on his illustrious career in London this week. Unfortunately, he's just had so many surgeries and setbacks the last 3 years, but I'm happy that Roger, whose team was largely responsible for creating this great team event that is the Laver Cup, I'm happy that he gets to play in it one more time. It's a tournament that means so much to him. Federer with so much reverence for Rod Laver, and it's a really cool and a unique event if you don't know much about it. But yeah, very sad about Fed. We knew this day was coming. Still emotional and difficult to process. He's given us so many moments on the court. I'm just hoping we get to see some vintage Fed this week. Maybe he'll surprise himself, plays so well he forgets about retiring altogether. But despite all the other star power, you can bet he'll be the #1 headline, the #1 showstopper of the week. And if you don't know how the Laver Cup works, a quick explanation. We have 2 teams of 6 players each, 4 matches each day over a 3-day event for 12 total matches. Each day there are 3 singles matches and 1 doubles match. The team captains decide who plays when, but every player has to play in at least 1 singles match throughout the first 2 days. And the scoring is pretty cool. Each match worth 1 point on Friday, 2 points on Saturday, and 3 points on Sunday. So they get progressively more important as we get later and later in the Laver Cup. The first team to reach 13 points out of 24 is the winner. And in the case that it's tied 12-12 at the end of day 3, we have a tiebreaker singles match to determine a champion. So enough about the rules. Let's get to the good stuff. And how cool is this Team Europe? The Big Four all on the same team, reunited, and it feels so good. We've seen Fed play doubles with Nadal at this event. We've seen Roger and Novak, but we're about to see all the different combinations. Roger Federer joined by his greatest rival, Rafael Nadal, who's enjoying a tremendous season where he's already won the Australian Open and Roland Garros. Novak Djokovic back in action after missing the US Open, down to #7 in the world, mostly due to not getting any rankings points from his Wimbledon win. The final member of the Big Four, Andy Murray, in the house as well, playing in his very first Laver Cup. Oh, by the way, Team Europe also has the world #2, Casper Ruud. Ruud coming very close to his first major title in New York. And we've got Laver Cup veteran, the Greek, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and the alternate, Matteo Berrettini, for some coaching, support, and handsomeness from the sidelines. Team Europe, per usual, with another squad that's absolutely stacked on paper. They're going to be nearly impossible to defeat, but that's the goal of Team World. They're 0-4 in the first 4 Laver Cups, but these men will attempt to turn that trend around. Felix Auger-Aliasime might be the best that Team World has to offer. He's coming off a big-time Davis Cup win over the newly minted world #1, Carlos Alcaraz. Has the game to keep it close against most of Team Europe. They also have the Indian Wells champion, Taylor Fritz. He's had some monumental wins this season. Great battles against Rafa at Indian Wells and Wimbledon too. The Argentine Diego Schwartzman has never won a Laver Cup match in 2 previous editions. Alex de Minaur will bring some speed and defense to the indoor hard courts of the O2 Arena. A lot of buzz regarding Francis Tiafoe these days. Big foe with a magnificent run to the US Open semifinals, upsetting Nadal for the biggest win of his career. He beat Rublev and Schwartzman too, up to a career high ranking of 19. He's got some firepower that could threaten these older guys on Team Europe. Jack Sock in the lineup. He's the doubles specialist for Team World. They'll probably have to win all 3 doubles matches to have a realistic shot. And the alternate is the explosive and dynamic Tommy Paul, who's been ascending lately. And when you look at the makeup of the 2 teams, it doesn't look great for Team World, despite the format where pretty much anything can happen. Last year was truly one-way traffic. Team Europe beating the brakes off the world, 14 points to 1. Isner and Shapovalov in doubles, the lone point for the red team. Yes, there were some close matches, a couple on day one decided by 2 points each, but overall the Europeans were a different class than their opponents. I don't think the discrepancy is as large this year, but there's going to be a lot of emotion powering Team Europe. Again, they're trying to make it 5 for 5 in Laver Cups. Team Europe with home court advantage, with the event being in London this season. They've got 4 players in the top 7 of the ATP rankings. Team World doesn't have a single one in the top 10, although they do have 4 of their own in the top 20. There's going to be a lot hinging on the health and movement of Roger Federer and really Andy Murray as well. I think Team World is going to have to attack those two, especially with Rafa and Novak showing no signs of slowing down. Casper Ruud having the ultimate breakout season. So much topspin, easy power on his ground strokes. Maybe Tsitsipas can be exposed. Last time we saw him, he was bowing out in the first round of the US Open, but I'm just trying to figure out the matchups that would help Team World. Maybe Felix against Nadal. Auger-Aliasime did take Rafa to 5 sets at Roland Garros this year. Rafa never the best on indoor hard courts, but that could leave Djokovic against Fritz, who he's 5-0 against, so I might want to flip-flop those two matchups. Federer is 4-0 against Tiafoe in his career, but they haven't played in 3 years, so I think it's going to come down to one of those 3 guys on Team World: Tiafoe, Fritz, Auger-Aliasime. They need a huge upset win in singles, and then they've got to hold serve and win at least 2 of the 3 doubles matches. Then we'll see, but team spirit and camaraderie will definitely be a must for Team World. They seem to always be ahead in that category. Unfortunately, no Nick Kyrgios to help spark the brotherhood, but these guys all still pretty tight with each other. Prediction-wise, I just feel like Team Europe is too strong again this year. The O2 Arena energy will be off the charts, not just because they're rooting for the Europeans, but add in Fed's impending retirement and the fact that the Big Four will be together again. I mean, they've defined an entire generation of tennis fans. If you ask maybe 90-95% of people around the world, I'd be willing to bet they say their favorite player is one of Fed, Nadal, Djokovic, or Murray. So there's going to be so much nostalgia. Throw in Ruud and Tsitsipas, and it spells doom for the world. I see Team World winning all 3 doubles matches and 1 singles match on day 2, but overall, Team Europe will win 13 points to 8. That's my prediction. They've won every single year so far, and I don't see Roger letting his team lose in his final event. He'll do whatever it takes on court, coaching, motivating, firing up the crowd. He's got the most singles wins in tournament history at 6 and most total match wins at 8. The Swiss Maestro will be waving his magic wand and help Team Europe win a 5th Laver Cup. I just hope we get some competitive matches, and I'm ready for an unforgettable and historic 3 days in London, watching some of the greatest current and all-time players the sport of tennis has to offer. Thanks a lot for watching my 2022 Laver Cup preview. Please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this competition, if you think they need to revamp the format or anything. Of course, let me know your thoughts, though, on this particular edition as well, who you think will win, who you're most excited to see perform in London. And if you want more tennis content, please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media. Cheers.